Well, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Africa on Pan-African Television. We are coming to you from our studios in Abilimpe, 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. Let me say a very good morning to everyone, but most especially to the news team for bringing you the early morning news. Unfortunately, today we're unable to bring you the goal because we were supposed to have the parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West Wogon on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, John Dumelo, in the studio. For some reasons, he couldn't make it. Kindly forgive us for not bringing you that interview and also not able to bring you the goal. But, well, today I'm sitting in for my brother, Kwame Owusudan, so he is also attending to some other very important assignments. God willing, tomorrow he's going to be here with you. Without wasting much time, I would love to take you through the stories that appeared on the front pages of various newspapers. And the Daily Graphic this morning says, President assures nation of enhanced protocols, safety measures in place to protect students, wearing of masks now mandatory, police to enforce directives, and active COVID-19 cases 7,652. COVID-19 update on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Cases, and they are talking about the total cases, 11,964 recovered, 4,258, and deaths, 54. Reopening of schools today. Reopening of schools today. Government deploys health personnel to institutions. Oman Bapa, a new TV series, goes live on Facebook at Daily Graphic Ghana at 11 a.m. today. Graphic Courier goes digital, and these are the stories captured on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Also on the back page of the Daily Graphic this morning, it says Bogatanga Road works progress steadily, and these are the stories captured both on the front page and at the back page of the Daily Graphic. Ghanaian Times this morning says COVID-19 update, tertiary institutions reopen today as government airlift distributes PPE to schools nationwide. COVID-19 update, tertiary institutions reopened today as government airlifts distributes PPE to schools nationwide. NLAGR partner to conduct VAT raffle to enhance government revenue mobilization. Former President Mahama urges government to withdraw public university bill, but government disagrees. Varsities of education, Cape Coast to undergo fumigation disinfection by Zoom Lion. These are the stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The Insight newspaper, on the front page of the Insight newspaper, it says Yana speaks on new register. Yana speaks on new register. Care Ghana calls for prosecution of EC balls and battle between religion and science. Where is it taking the world of capitalism? These are the stories captured on the front page of the Insight newspaper. Also, Daily Guide newspaper says KK Sam dead. KK Sam dead. NLAGR hit jackpot. 4 more for Nana, says Shatta Wale. 4 more for Nana, says Shatta Wale. NDC steps up anti-register games. Zoom Lion fights COVID-19 in Upper West, and chief praise for Mahama at cemetery. These are the stories on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. The Daily Searchlight says COVID-19 hits Parliament. Leadership frustrated as COVID-infected MPs staff defy orders to stay away. NLAGR is set to launch VAT raffle. Nanado deserves a second term, Savlugu MC says. Government distributes PPEs and logistics to schools. These are the stories on the front page of the Daily Searchlight newspaper. The Punch newspaper says ban on noise making in Accra lifted. NLA and GR is set to launch VAT raffle. Withdraw varsities bill now. I shall repeal same if JDM wants. Down memory lane, Bawumia chosen in August 2008. He was politically unknown at the time. West did not bear NPP party card. New or no new voters register. Africania mission joins fray. Kwesi Poku scares Carlos Ahinkra. These are the stories captured on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Daily Democrat this morning says Fantiakwa South NDC leadership tours branches. Fantiakwa South NDC leadership tours branches and feeds UN feeds 4,000 COVID-19 patients in Ghana for 3 months. UN feeds 4,000 COVID-19 patients in Ghana for 3 months. NLA and GRA to launch VAT raffle. Reopening schools will undermine COVID-19 fight. EC's justification for excluding voter ID card is plain absurdity, Bright Simmons said. And you have a picture of Bryce Simmons on the front page of the Daily Democrat and that of Madam Jane Mensah, the EC chair, also right here on the front page of the Daily Democrat. What Bryce Simmons is actually saying is that EC's justification for excluding voter ID card is plain absurdity. These are the stories on the front page of the Daily Democrat. The Ghanaian Observer says, "Our developed salt industry," says President Akufo-Addo, "current voters register can be manipulated." EC chairperson answers critics. War on COVID-19, KNUST, KTU, others disinfected. NLA partners GRA to raise revenue to support government. Our developed salt industry, well, I've read that already, and government distributes PPEs to varsities as tertiary schools reopen. Ghanaian Observer captured all those stories. The New Crusading Guide says 4 Fulani thieves grabbed, still 60 cattle and butcher eyewitness. The truth about contractors' trouble with Ghana first. Judgment debt looms for MFDAs as Clean Ghana project contractors drag them into dirty deals with foreign investors. CBTG projects 200 million Ghana cedi in tax revenue for 2020. Development key on my agenda, John Kuma promises. NLA and GR set to launch VAT raffle. KNUST, KTU, others disinfected. The Informer newspaper. NPP cocaine record confirmed as NACOP fights customs over missing 100.10 grams of cocaine. NPP cocaine record confirmed as NACOP fights customs over missing 100.10 grams of cocaine. As COVID-19 engulfs Parliament, Majority Leader sheds crocodile tears after assembling House to pass EC's CI. NPP MP backs old voters register, petitions party leadership to protect sanctity of old roll for use in upcoming election. And you have a picture of Dr. Mark Esibe Yebo, a member of Parliament for New Joburg South constituency. He is also, of course, asking the people of the New Joburg South to vote for him and then go to Parliament once again. But of course, Michael Ochibefi, the man of the moment, the man who is taking over New Joburg South, would never and ever allow anybody, and I say it once again, anybody to take over him. And so we pray and hope that the delegates in New Joburg South constituency would honor Michael Ochibefi. He's the man who is doing more than a member of Parliament would even do. Why don't you just honor him to lead the constituency, lobby for the constituency, and make sure that New Joburg South constituency, we also get better things. All right, let me say a very good morning to my family members in Kofrodi and Nyamikro, to be precise, Yellow House I'm talking about. The Ghanaian publisher says ICUMS not to blame for parked vehicles at Elubo border, says customs isolate or be named. Majority leader tells COVID-19 MPs new register will address flawed elections, says EC. COVID-19 cases rise to 11,964. Health minister in stable condition, says president. NLAGRA to launch VAT raffle. Well, something baffles my mind. We are told that the health minister says he's resting. How come the president is now saying he's in a stable condition? And so there should be some more explanations. Obiamwa's opponent attacks government. And these are the stories captured on the front page of the Ghanaian publisher. The Inquisitor newspaper says public varsity bill, UG-UTAG in Rogri. Coming up, super sex scandal at NADMO. Super sex scandal at NADMO. Mr. George AC, Director of Communications for NADMO. Good morning. Is that true? Super sex scandal at NADMO. George AC is my brother. Anyway, amateurs Hajide sparks anger in MPP. Farouk Aliu Mahama to win Yendi MPP primaries. Government dribbles customers of collapsed banks. Super sex scandal at NADMO. Good morning, Mr. George AC. Economy Times, government borrows 17.8 billion Ghana cedi from domestic market. Ghana records 1.3 billion US dollars BOP surplus end of 2019. Do cost restructuring management expert tells SMEs management expert tells SMEs owners. These are the stories on the front page of the Economy Times. And finally, with me here is the Go Street Business. TUC proposes compensation insurance scheme for workers. TUC proposes compensation insurance scheme for workers to safeguard salary of workers in times of national crisis. Local oil palm losing market share from 50% benchmark valuation cut as prices of local palm oil now unfavorable against imports. ICOMS trade platform controversy turns political. Officials claim political motivation behind latest false allegations, and these are the stories captured on the front page of the that was the Go Street Business. Well, now let me take you through the stories we are going to be discussing this morning. We are looking at government dribbles customers of collapsed banks. The Inquisitor newspaper story on page 5. South African president's shame over surge in murders of women. Daily Graphic story on page 5 also. COVID-19 update. Tertiary institutions reopen today as government airlifts distributes PPEs to schools nationwide. And the final one we'll be discussing is Yana speaks on new register. The Inside newspaper story on front page and continues on page 3 of the paper. I'll be joined in the studio this morning by Wilson Dabo, who is a member of the New Patriotic Party communications team and a friend as well. Wilson, thank you so much and good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you? I'm fine, my brother. And also in the studio is my godfather, Dr. Mark Kett Nawani, who is a member of parliament for NAPDAN. Doc, good morning. It's been a while.
Yes, good morning.
All right.
This time, I mean, we usually go to the constituency. We're also needed there seriously.
Very well.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I hope everything is also going well.
Oh, by God's grace. Yes, yes.
All right. Okay.
Everything's under control.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. So we'll start with the story on page 5 of the Daily Graphic. That's an African story. It says South African president's shame over surge in murders of women. I'll start with you, Doc.
Well, let me use the opportunity to greet my constituents. Yeah. Pan-African television. We can ndani abeme kadlaching cool Varayakong or brother la cola. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Well, I just greeted my people and we went for a funeral of Dr. Varayakong's brother.
Very well.
Yes, and I was there. And I wished that he has a perfect rest. And condolences to the bereaved family.
All right.
If the story, even though it is looks quite unfortunate, and that the South Africa we know, after having struggled and come out of and had their independence, this thing should still be happening. But this is the new South Africa that we've been able to carve out of the apartheid South Africa. It's unfortunate that the level of violence in this country is so high that I don't know what they can do about it. It's at all levels. I mean, you talk of xenophobia in South Africa. You talk of discrimination against so many forms of discrimination, even against women in South Africa. So I'm not surprised that this report is coming, and it's only that the president is even saying that there's a culture of silence on some of these issues. In other words, it is not being discussed at the level that it should be, or it's not coming out the way that it should be.
Very well.
And I'm thinking that the government has a duty to ensure that these things are handled at the highest level, and then the punishment should be punitive. If you look at the story, a pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant.
Very well.
Woman is seen hanging. I don't know whether she was killed before being hanged, or she hanged to kill herself, but they expect some criminal involvement of some people. Yes, and her name is it Tshigo? Their names are very difficult to pronounce. Tshigo Fezo Pule, 28 years. Why should a pregnant woman, 8 months, be found in such a state? And that is not the only case. There are other cases that has happened involving women. For example, Naledi Fajidangu, who was also stabbed or suspected to have been stabbed by the boyfriend. And all these things, you realize that it is being investigated, and probably the information doesn't come out, or the information comes out, but somewhere along the line, I believe people even stop following what is happening. And so we need to, as South Africa as a nation, I think it is in sub-Saharan Africa, they've got the biggest economy, if not Nigeria. I think Nigeria is second. They have got the biggest economy in sub-Saharan Africa. And we thought that, South Africa being an African nation, we also needed some countries in Africa to emerge as a hub to what? Carry the rest of us along, like Japan did in Asia. South Korea and all those countries around Japan, they depended upon the development of Japan to move. Singapore, they all depended on Japan to move. So in Africa, we're thinking that, well, with South Africa also being practically a developed economy, we also expected that they should develop faster, and we all can hook to it and take advantage of their market, etc., and export our produce, and make sure that, well, we also get the benefits of having a focal country that is developed and that we can also deal with. But it appears that both South Africa and Nigeria is another country with a very big market. Almost 200 million people are in Nigeria. We expect that these two countries should be able to put their house in order, and the rest of us will follow, or will be hooked to their economies. But in these countries, they are both failing. Nigeria is failing, and as for South Africa, it's not only failing, but even with the xenophobia and the crime level, indeed, it is not attracting investments as we should want. And we now even fear. Ghanaians fear to go to South Africa. We fear to do business with South Africa. Yes, and that is because of this very high crime rates. Murder cases, sending some African countries back to their country, chasing them away, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, all those people who legitimately were working in South Africa are now being gradually sent back to their own countries, or are now being forced in some way to go back to their countries because of the crime rates. And it's unfortunate, because this is women, and whenever women are targeted, then that society appears to have lost all its values. Its value system should be questioned, because women, they form the basis of our society. Women are those, when they are well protected, then you know that the future of that country is what? Well protected. We are not talking of what? Empowering women, say that they can do the work that we men can also do. And we have a nation that is not protecting their women well, and a nation that the murder rate of their women is on the ascendancy.
All right, thank you so much, Doc, for your submission. Wilson.
Yes, Justice. Yeah. Good morning to your very self and my brother here, and a special morning to my constituency, the parliamentary candidate, not a candidate, but he's the parliamentary, the MP, Ambrose Derry.
Okay.
I want to say a very special morning to him, and then I'm calling on all the constituents to rally behind him on the 20th to endorse him, so that he will carry on with the good works he's been doing for the region and Nandom in particular. Justice, it is a sad moment for Africa, yet, to be told about some of these things. And before I will proceed, I would like to read his quote.
Okay.
Cyril Ramaphosa. He said that it is a dark and shameful week for us as a nation. Criminals have descended to even greater depths of cruelty and callousness. It simply cannot continue. I do not know whether these are words of seriousness or these are words just to to comfort the international media about exactly what is happening in South Africa. You would agree with me that following history, before 1994, when they were giving, the freedom to have their own government and rule themselves, these were the very things that they actually campaigned against as having been registered upon their lives by the whites. Today, blacks have turned again, a sister black or a brother black to register some of these mayhem against their own people. I ask myself, what is happening? Just a few weeks ago, they were celebrating the killing of, George Floyd in America. I heard Julius Malema actually lamenting over some of these things, and actually, came very heavy on his own people that if we today are celebrating the killing of a black man in somebody's country, America, what is happening in South Africa? We're killing ourselves. We kill Nigerians. They kill Zambians. They kill, almost everybody that they find in their country, and then they draw the conclusion that they have come to take their jobs. Today we are being told that women are not being spared. And sad enough, these are crimes coming from relations. Coming from people, either a former boyfriend or somebody that have been in marriage before, and all manner of things. And the police ministry or the minister in charge of policing has actually indicated that some of these things can be accounted for as a result of the the restriction on the lifting of restriction on alcohol intake and all that. And so I really don't know. We all take alcohol, but when we take alcohol, I don't think we go the extent of maiming people and killing people in the manner they are doing and all that. Okay. So I frankly associate myself with the comments made by my senior colleague here that this is not the time. Indeed, if these things are happening, then the government at this particular moment needs to put their foot on the ground and make sure that the law works for everybody. It is not just for nothing that somebody can kill somebody and nobody knows anything about it. You understand? Whether it is in the night or whenever that it happens, there's a need for the police, state institutions to take up the challenge to make sure that some of these criminals are brought to book, to serve as deterrent to others who might also have such intentions to carry out some of these heinous crimes in the society. So South Africa had come a long way looking back at their history of all the atrocities that have been visited upon them. And we thought that having come out of some of these inhumane treatment, they would have been the first to carry the flag of humanity to show to the world that we are far behind those days of darkness. And therefore, we need to chart that, a path of goodness and for righteousness for everybody to look up to, and not some of these, darkened, happenings that is happening around South Africa. It is indeed sickening to hear some of these xenophobic attacks on people, particularly foreigners and even women and all of that. So, Justice, I do not think that it is something of a good news for us to laugh about. But then, if the president is lamenting about it, he should go beyond the lamentation and let the law work for the country to grow.
All right. Thank you so much, Wilson, for your submission. I'll start with you on this. And we are coming back to Ghana, where we are going to be looking at the compilation of new voters register. The National House of Chiefs, of course, invited or extended invitation to the Electoral Commission. I think it wasn't honored. Yana speaks on the new register, and the Inside newspaper has captured that particular story. Some chiefs actually are still calling on the Electoral Commission to consider its decision of compiling a new register, looking at the times in which we are, and the fact that, there are a lot of factors that may not allow for compilation of a new voters register. Your take on that?
Yes, thank you so much. In fact, my good friend and mentor, our former Deputy Communication Director, Gifty Owari, of National Services, warning me that it is now a rule. You don't go out there without your mask on. So the police might come in here to arrest us.
Gifty, good morning. I hope you're fine.
We have taken note of it.
Well noted. We'll get that corrected anyway.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Justice, this issue of the new register has been one thing that has been on and off since 2019 up to now, when I remember the first meeting, APAC meeting, the move was made that we should have a new register looking at the flaws of the 2012 register. There was a need for us to have a new one altogether. People have made their their minds. People have actually advocated for different views and all of those things to be looked into in respect of what is expected of a country. You would remember that the NDC, our brothers, have actually championed this cause, and they were joined by other smaller groups and the civil societies and all that.
Very well.
But you will also appreciate that from the other angle of the EC's argument, they have made it clear, even in legal terms, that it is not something that can be, halted, but that at the end of the day, two court rulings have actually championed the case that there was a need for a cleanup as far as the 2012 register is concerned. And if you do remember, the NPP on our side, it hasn't been today that we've been advocating for electoral reforms in this country. Way back in 1992, up to 1996, 2000, 2004, 2008, and even the heaviest of all the moves led by Led My Vote count and all of that made such a strenuous effort to make some kind of reason available for the EC to agree with us that there was a need for us to change the register. But all that fell on deaf ears. Today, we have an EC that is, looking at the issues and believing that there's a need. And people have actually made their contributions either for or against the new voter register. Yes, even including the National House of Chiefs and all that. I am reading some stories that indicates that the National House of Chiefs extended a letter of invitation to the EC, and they have not gone. I have not heard from the EC's angle of argument and what reasons have been ascribed as to why they didn't honor the invitation and all that. But people will do their own speculations. These are the chiefs and they are integral part of our democratic dispensation. Even in as much as they do not, by law, meddle in some of the political activism and all of that. They are being restrained because of their standing in society, and therefore when they extend that kind of hand of invitation to the EC or a body to come for them to dialogue and all of that, that actually followed a petition by Sepa and then Imani. And then we are hearing all manner of stories, having to the extent that Domahini actually, lambasted our General Secretary for come for dialogue. I do not know the kind of dialogue that they want from the EC. I do not know.
Chiefs are citizens of this nation, right?
Why not? Yes.
But chiefs are, of course, also responsible for jurisdictions and
excellent
would want the interest of their people to be really taken into account or consideration, right?
Undisputed.
And so what is so wrong about chiefs calling on the Electoral Commission to come?
There is nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with it. We are not, saying this because there was something wrong in the way the chiefs are, up against or talking about it. We welcome it. Their views are well respected, no matter what. But the manner in which some of them have taken the issue to is worrying. And you should be worried. You understand? You should be worried. Even before the EC accepted to honor their invitation, some of them had already gone on air to insult the EC, making some, I don't want to go into some of those, pronouncements, making some unguarded remarks that they
Can you pinpoint a chief who made a disparaging remark about
if you read about the Domahini's statement, he stated categorically that John Boydu saying that they were lawless was some kind of an insult to them, and indicated that if they make the move to make the compilation of the register come true, they might be disenfranchising many people in their community.
But Yana said same in his statement. Okay.
You will come, doctor.
But Yana, okay. Let me read a brief of Yana's, story. The overlord of Dagbon, Yana Abubakar Mahama II, has urged the Electoral Commission (EC) to take steps to ensure that it does not disenfranchise Ghanaians as the country heads towards the December 7 polls. According to him, it is necessary to maintain the peace, security, and stability of Ghana before, during, and after the general elections. Yana Abubakar Mahama said the rising tension in the country over the compilation of a new voters register can't be dealt with if there is an assurance that no one will be disenfranchised. He noticed that the position of the country's chiefs on the new register, as echoed in a recent statement by the National House of Chiefs, is clear and explicit, and called on the Electoral Commission.
This is excellent message, royal message. I want to take it up from where he said EC should make sure that they do not disenfranchise anybody.
Is the Electoral Commission giving such assurances
to the
good people of Ghana?
Why not? He has, the EC has given a lot of grounding for anybody at all not to have any fear as far as the new register is concerned. You understand? Let's even look at the source document that has been put out. Okay? What do you call it? The passport. And then that of NIA card, Ghana card. You understand? And the third option is the fact that if you do not have any of these, but once you have somebody that has his name already entered into the new register, that person qualifies to guarantee for you to also register. So there are three options, standard options. And the third one has been something that has been ongoing since 1992. We cannot move away from it, that people vouch for others to register. So I am saying that even before the EC responded to what do you call it, the call by National House of Chiefs, we saw some of those remarks on media outlets. So some of them were even threatening that they will not allow EC to operate in their communities. You heard it. You don't want me, I don't think you expect me to be mentioning chiefs' names and all that, which I will not do. But you heard it. People threaten, even in Accra here. People organize press conferences and threaten that if the EC will not back down, they will also, resist when they come to the community to register. What kind of country are we building?
The point, you understand?
It is within this context that, John Boydu indicated emphatically that some chiefs were lawless in the way, a manner in which they were going about things.
I want to ask you a question briefly. The point is, let's be realistic. Yes. Realistically, the Electoral Commission is telling us that, okay, so we are using passport, the NI cards as breeder documents. Yes. Now, they have sent a CI to Parliament that has been approved for the exclusion of voters' ID cards as a breeder document for the registration of the current one. You are saying that in the absence of those two, people can vouch for others to register. Yes. How realistic is that? Looking at the situation in which we are, where we are going to be having less than 25 people gather at a registration center, where you have over 17 million people to register and vote in this country, 17 million eligible people to register and vote in this country. How is the process going to be ensured to run smoothly and faster, so people who are vouching for others could do so and have everybody registered without disenfranchising people? It is, let's be real.
Yes, realistically, this is to the discretion of the EC. They are empowered with that kind of mandate from the Constitution, that to make sure that they give faith to the people that they are serving. And from all, evidences, the EC has actually demonstrated that they are able to do that. Even with the pilot that they did just 2-3 weeks ago, they have shown that they are able to do it. And so with that guaranteeing ground for some of these things to happen, it is up to their ability to prove that they are able, within the circumstance, to do what is expected of them, to have the 18 or the 17 million voters that they expect in the register and all that. So for me, we all need to rally behind the EC. We have come far with this kind of debate. You saw what happened in court. Now, it is no longer about the new voters register. It is about the old ID card that should be included, which we are all waiting for the court to make a ruling on it on the 23rd. And I am so refreshed about it, because for a very long time that we have all been agitating for this new voter issue to come up. It is coming. And it is something that will serve the good of all of us as far as elections are concerned in this country. For the credibility and all of those arrangements to make sure that everybody is included, it is up to the EC. If I go to the station to vote, to register, and the EC deny me of one issue based on one, a mistake or whatever that it is, I'll be grieved. So we are calling on them to make sure that whatever that it is that are so worrying, that everybody is so fearful about and worried about, they should calm the fears of people and make sure that they satisfy the comfort of everybody, that whatsoever that it is that is put in place, they will make sure that everybody's name is captured. Just like the Yana is indicating, they should make sure that nobody is left out. Once you qualify, you are 18 years and you are Ghanaian, you should be able to have your name in the register. Talking about these guarantors and people vouching for the others and all that, you agree with me that since 1992, we've been doing it. Now it has been lifted to 10 people, is that not it? Previously it was 5. So what is the fear? Is it because of the circumstances in which we have found ourselves? If indeed we are talking about the current dispensation in respect of the coronavirus desperation, then we shouldn't go for the December 7th election, if so to speak. But in all respect, we know that no matter what it is, we need to face the reality and make sure that whatever that it takes to make this a dream come true, let us have it done. Let everybody that is qualified to register go about his or her process smoothly, so that nobody has any kind of interruption. The threat coming from chiefs and all that people, we are telling them that they should calm down. Whatever that it is, everybody will be served in the community. We need their support. We want them to rally behind the local EC officers at their communities, so that everybody comes on board, and we support the EC to deliver what is expected of us. We are calling on our brothers, the NDC, to join us. So that and we join the EC, because if you have gone to court to rescind your take, that was a serious matter that called for demonstration across the country. At the end of the day, you went to court and you told the court that we do not want any issue against the new register. We want the new register now. Let us talk about the breeder document, so that if we include the old voter ID, then everybody will be included. But the EC,
let's put that issue in.
Yeah, before I land.
They went to court with 2 reliefs.
Yes.
The Supreme Court said that they cannot be seeking 2 reliefs at the same time, and so they should choose one.
So but everybody expected that. Yeah, but everybody expected that.
So
they should have taken
that they have backdated on that.
When we started all this process, you have not yet brought this thing to Parliament to make the vote.
No, you let me conclude.
Let me conclude. I'll come to you briefly.
That is the dictatorship of the majority.
No, it's not dictatorship.
But briefly, you deal with all this for me. Isn't it commonsensical that if EC wouldn't want to disenfranchise people in the upcoming elections, they look for a primary document that would allow majority of people to be able to register than that of passports and the NI card? As it stands now, we have just about 2 million people with passports in this country. Some are living outside this country. Others are minors. So at the end of the day, the people who are eligible to register and vote will be less when it comes to the 2 million people who have been having passports. NI cards, there have been issues that, look, a lot of people do not even get their cards as it stands now. A lot of people have not registered. Per se, have not registered for the NI card. Doesn't mean that such persons should be disenfranchised. Okay, they may get 2 people to do that for them. What if somebody, of course, challenges them or something like that? And so what people are saying is that we have used birth certificates in getting our passports. We've used birth certificates in registering for the NI cards. Why can't we include birth certificates that a lot of people have in this country as a primary document to allow a lot of people to register for the voters' ID?
So I then say this by saying that why do we have to continue with an illegality when we know that the illegality has manifested enough grounds
Which
for
one
our
is the
mistakes?
illegality?
I mean, the birth set was an illegality even from 1992 up to date. The NIA card, I have stated that on legal grounds, on 2 occasions.
What made birth certificates illegal?
No. You see, when you look at how it is acquired and what qualifies you to acquire it, even a foreigner can have a birth cert of Ghana.
But don't forget that the birth certificate you are saying is an illegality, where the primary documents actually used in getting passports and the NI cards. So we are still perpetrating the illegality.
Good. So must we continue to perpetrate the illegality even when we have recognized that it is wrong to do so?
Isn't it? If it is not on the basis of your argument, isn't it illegal? To use NI cards and passports that have been acquired by birth certificates as breeder document for the registration of the voter's ID card?
No. You see, there must come a point in time when you say, I have to stop doing something and do something right. That is the position of the EC.
Because if a foreigner has birth certificate, the person is likely to get a Ghanaian passport. If a foreigner has a Ghanaian birth certificate, the person is likely to use it to acquire the NI cards. So we may end up have foreigners registering in the upcoming registration exercise by the
I don't see that coming.
Why don't you see that?
No, I don't. I don't see that coming.
Because we have foreigners in this country with Ghanaian passports. It is possible. You can't deny that.
But you see, that is why Justice at the police station, you even made mention of it. At the police station, there are agents, empowered enough to challenge whosoever that comes in the community. Let's take, for example, in an area, Nandom, a smaller community like that, we know ourselves. You understand? We know ourselves. It is like that. It is not like a vast area where we come here to to talk about issues and all of that. When a polling station is staged in a particular community, everybody knows anybody. Before you go to queue to register, somebody will be there to point out that this person, I know you, you are not from Ghana, you are a Malian, you are a Togolese, you are from here
William,
and that kind of
what's your
thing.
name again?
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yes.
I think I want to register in Accra here.
Doc, you do
Let
it.
me just
You do
give
it.
you a question. I want you to answer. Because it appears that you have not looked at the form for the vote. Assume that you want to register in Accra here, and assume that you don't have the passport and the NIA. And you want to register in Accra here. Who are those to vote for you?
Why not?
Or you have to go and get some people.
You don't
call
Doc,
your member of parliament to come and
Doc, it is simple. Simple.
Okay.
I just want you to answer.
Let them down for me so I can go to
You don't just walk into any community where there's a police station and go and you don't do that.
No. Where do you stay?
I stay in what they call it, the Medina.
Very good. Medina. Yes, Medina.
No, you can't do that.
Medina. No. You are staying at Medina.
Okay,
yes.
I want him to step down. Let me have your time. Wilson, step down
so that you can come in. You can come in. So in conclusion, this matter of, back and forth with the EC, new register and all that, I think the development shows that we are getting there. We are getting there because if one major issue that was actually a cause of demonstration across the country has been, gunned down. It meant that we are almost there. So we are calling on all stakeholders, the chiefs, and the opposition, party people to come on board. Let's support the EC to do what is expected of the EC, so that
the meat of the matter here is that people are not disenfranchised, and I think that
the EC has given
the National
grounds.
Democratic Congress and other smaller parties have been very consistent about people not being disenfranchised.
No, the EC has given so much assurance to that.
Okay.
What we can do for the EC is to trust the process and make sure that we support the EC to make sure that everybody that is qualified and of Ghanaian standing enter into the register.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Wilson Dabo, for your submission. Doc, you can come in. Yana speaks on new register.
No, it appears you have not looked at the form for the vote.
I've looked at it.
Okay.
You have looked at it.
I know what
so who are those going to vote for you?
No, you proceed with your submission.
No, it's part of my submission.
No, you proceed with your submission.
In Medina,
now he has his time.
Yes.
He's asking your question.
Yes, in Medina, I must make sure I'm coming. I must make sure that I have friends who have known me at least for the past 5 years. Before, yes, that is the CI.
The only area,
for the 5 years, it's not about 5 days. So for the 5 years, that qualifies you to be a registered voter in that particular area.
You are talking about vouching for people, and that is the point Doc is trying to make.
It's not as easy.
I'll come to you. Now, you said we can vouch for. 2 people can vouch, or a person can vouch for as many as 10 people. Justice Appiah, if I go outside this country, let's say Togo,
yes,
and I bring in people, I have people who can vouch for them to register in this country and vote. Aren't we going to still have foreigners coming from Togo, getting people to vouch for them and get them registered?
That is too simplistic to put.
It is not that simplistic to put.
You see, to prove
it's a matter of vouching for 2 people.
Yes.
If the people can prove
that is,
that, of
if
course,
you do that, in the process of doing that, nobody challenges you. Why not?
That's why I'm saying.
You know within your conscience.
Isn't it possible that people can do that without them being challenged?
That is why
we will have foreigners.
That is why we have resident agents.
Okay.
People who know the community and know the people.
Okay.
So that they are the ones who will do the proper.
That's fine. Okay.
So if you are not being challenged, if you are being challenged, you will be thrown away.
The issue is this. It's not just easy to just say that he's my friend and I know him to be a Ghanaian. You know, if you look at the form, there's a place for siblings, parents, spouse, is it your child or something? And the last one there is others. And that is what he's trying to say, that if you've been a friend to that person for 5 years, you can easily state that he's a friend. And so by virtue of being a friend, you know whatever. Okay. You know him so well that you should be able to vouch for him. Okay. Indeed, this is the area that a lot of people are going to be challenged. And I've gone through this process of registration before. Okay. In 2011, I was then the parliamentary candidate for Appiah East. And there was even gunshots. Indeed, what happened was that this Eves they were there, they were doing they are settlers. And when they speak, you know, the accent is already there. Even if your name doesn't tally, the accent gives you out sometimes. If you learn the language as an adult. And so, whenever they come, the challenge. In fact, Appiah is recorded the highest in Ghana. The highest in Ghana because I was a foreigner myself as a parliamentary candidate. And one of them was, it happened that way, and before you know, they wanted to kill an indigent. And if that had happened, all of us would have been in big trouble, including me myself. And so, before I knew, they gave their warning shot, and instead of them running away, they now kept the guy into a gutter, and about 10, 15 of them rushed on him to go and beat. So I had to also rush into the gutter. And when they gave me some few blows, they realized that it's their parliamentary candidate who is there, and I was begging them to stop. And so I have a very, very bad experience so far as this type of registration is concerned.
Very well.
And it does happen to our people who are in the opposition strongholds at that time. It did happen like that. But now, they are now in government now. So it will be in government strongholds that is going to happen. Where if you are in Kumasi and your name is Nawani, you just mention your name and a challenge is kept. And you are supposed to appear before the district electoral committee or it will be the municipal electoral committee or whatever it is to justify. Having said all this, I'm trying to say that it is not as straightforward as my friend Wilson wants us to understand, that the vouching is that easy to a process. If you, in a homogeneous society like Nandom and in Nabdam, we don't have that problem. We don't have that problem at all. It might be just some few people. If you come there and you are speaking the language, you don't have any problem. If you are called Akwesi and you can speak the language, I don't think they'll sack you away, because they know that some of our people were born down south and they've got some, they've gotten some names. But if you come there and can't speak the language, then that is where you have the problem.
So, Doc,
but
isn't
the other our problem is that really our brothers and sisters who have settled in communities over here, you know, at the cocoa growing areas, they are the people who are there. Now at the mining areas, they are the people who are there. This is where the problem is. But with the new, I don't want to. Well, that is at the implementation stage that this is going to show.
So Doc, with the arguments you're making, let's look at the other side of the coin.
Yes.
Where when you go to Togo,
yes,
they can speak Ewe.
Yes.
And so when you have somebody coming from Togo,
yes,
and the person is able to speak Ewe in somewhere around a flower or something like that, isn't it possible that the fact that the person can speak Ewe will be seen as one of them and will be allowed to go through the process successfully? Well, if the person gets two people to vouch for him or her.
It is true that along all the borders, not only the Volta region, I think along all the borders, we've got an artificial border. And so you have some people who really have got dealings both in Ghana and in Togo. Yes, but that person has to choose whether he belongs to Ghana or he belongs to Togo, or whatever type of citizenship that he has. Those things are there, but that is not where the problem is. No, the problem is how not to disenfranchise a Ghanaian. But if anybody with criminal intent from either Togo or from, should I say,
Burkina Faso,
Lubo, that is where the other border is with Cote d'Ivoire, or Burkina Faso. Those people, I believe that if the agents, the party agents, are really people on the ground, they are supposed to help fish out those people. And that's why we've got the party agents there. But of course, if a Togolese is able to enter and settle in Ghana here, and he goes to Kumasi or some other place, and he can speak the language, and his name doesn't look like a Togolese, he will go through definitely. If he can also get people to vote for him.
But so it makes it very possible to have foreigners on the new register we are going to be compiling.
It's just like if a foreigner is able to get a Ghanaian passport.
Well, but which defeats the purpose of compiling a new register.
Always, a register would not be 100% proof. There will definitely be certain problems with the register. But it is the extent to which it is a representative of the society is what is important. If we can get a register that is about 90%, 95%, then as the struggle started, the alliance, when they sat down with, I don't know whether with the electoral commission or the electoral commission did their own thing, but of course, those implementing it was there, or arguing for it in Parliament. We don't have an electoral commission in Parliament, so we have our MP majority. There are those in Parliament, you know, and they brought this LI to us, which was supposed to work on, saying that the old voter ID card is not a recognized document anymore, which means that if you're not going to do a new register, then by law you can also use the old register. Because if the old ID is disqualified, particularly it means that you can't use the old register.
Very well. So that's quite strategic.
And that is, yes. And when this law has been passed, it means that automatically there must be a new register. And that is why our lawyers had to withdraw that one.
Okay.
Even though I don't know why they left it there till last minute, hoping that probably the big guys will look at it. But that is the main reason why the list is changing. The goalpost is changing. As we are there talking, then they will bring another thing and tell us that no, this one, the birth certificate cannot be there, this one cannot be there. So they change the goalpost, and we also have to change our demands. And so we are now demanding to know whether the old ID can be used or not.
Okay.
Should in case the old ID can be used, it automatically means that there's even a chance that the old register too can be used. That is the thing. That is the truth. If the old ID cannot be used, it is automatically that the old register cannot be used under any circumstances. So that is the argument that is now before the Supreme Court. But personally, I thought that, you know, with the way things were going, immediately the budget for the new register came. I said, no, I will look at the figures, about 440-something million Ghana cedis.
Very well.
Yes. This figure looks quite big, and with the way the government was complaining, that there was no money here, there was no money there, they had difficulties doing that, etc. The infrastructure, they were now trying to see whether they could borrow money to carry out their infrastructure work. And we're in an election year. So I thought that, well, why should the government spend this amount of money working on a new register when all this money could have been pushed into infrastructure? From my village, a village boy who was looking at my village infrastructure, even if they could give this thing 1 million Ghana cedis to add to whatever work we are doing over there, well, I could see a very big impact. That is one of the reasons why somebody like me, I initially kicked against any form of new registration.
Okay.
Then, unfortunately, apart from the fact that the register was coming late, and I thought that, no, if we joke, we might not be able to compile a credible voter register before the time. Then came the issue of COVID-19. And from what I hear from the finance minister and this thing, our economy, or the economic growth that was envisaged, all those things have now been put aside, and that were actually not doing very well. Indeed, COVID exposed us as a nation that our economy is not as resilient as we thought.
Very well.
Yes, because within a matter of 1 or 2 months of COVID-19, we're having a lot of problems. And to get our supplies, we had to go to even IMF, etc., back to IMF again, you know, to get money to be able to finance COVID. And I asked myself, if we are doing all this, we are going to borrow to manage COVID, if we are going to borrow to make sure that we stabilize the economy, then why don't we stop this expenditure of 400 and something million Ghana cedis and push this money into the stabilization of the economy? Or to advise my brothers, they want to win an election, but they have no infrastructure work to show. Now they have been proving that everything that is in the Green Book was really what was said to be it is, as it is written in the Green Book.
But the president says those were fantasies.
That is what
they do not exist.
Sometimes, excuse me to say, but the president listens to the serial callers more than I think what is really on the ground. You know, the serial callers started saying all these things. Yeah, so we know about it. But we thought that it was just they are serial callers. If you say you have worked on this part of the road, they can go and stand on another part of the road where you have not worked and snap and tell you that you have not done anything. But for the president to be repeating the same thing, that everything is a fantasy, everything is an artistic impression of what we wanted to do, is a fallacy. It is untrue. I mean, if you look recently at Joy News, you realize that Hazizi, or is it Hazidi, Pius.
Pius Enam Hajide.
Yes.
Hajide.
Hajide. Very good. You know, his name is Pius.
Yeah.
Devotedly religious. So God could not allow him to tell any lie. His name is Pius. The Pius means devotedly religious. You know.
Deputy Minister of Information.
Yeah. Yes. Pius means devotedly religious. So God, he could not tell lies, you know. He just looked at the thing, studied it, and when he's speaking, you know, God will be controlling what he wants to say. So eventually, he did not say anything. And so on this ground, that I thought that no, why should we be struggling to work on a new register when I think it came to before us, and I just expressed my opinion this way, that it is not a matter of whether if we wanted to do a new register, possibly we have started it early. We have started it early, completed. If we could have even test run it by using it to run the assembly elections, it would have been good for everybody. But what is happening? Why do you have to sit down till the last minute? Why, as if, do you know that if there's any problem and you can't register, it's most likely that it will be difficult for you to correct it. But for sure, if we had done it even last year, this year they will open the register again. Anybody who has not registered can go there and register. That's what always happens. And it would have been a better option than what is happening now. Now, with the voters' ID and whatever currently is happening, it is not only the chiefs that are saying it or the NDC. We have been fighting for this inclusion of the voter ID for a long time. We don't even, we think that, look, if you are going to carry out a new register, for the nth time, the person is coming before you again. The person is not only sitting down in the house and slotting the voter ID into a machine for him to be registered. He is coming before people again with the party reps again sitting down there. He is being seen physically. Not that the voter ID is, he is being seen physically once again.
But Doc, if you are...
So why is it that, why is it, if they have any issues, and the person is being seen physically again with the voter ID, those issues can come up again.
Doc, you've just admitted that if we had wanted to compile a new voters register, it would have been compiled before now.
That
so
would
an
be
admission
better,
that we can compile a new voters
oh, yeah,
register.
the EC has
The Electoral
that
Commission
right.
has been saying that
Yes.
the voters register as we have now is not credible and cannot be used for the 2020 elections. We need a credible register for a credible elections. And the EC has assured that within this frame of time, they can compile a new register and we can use it for the 2020 elections. What's the problem of the National Democratic Congress?
Our problem is that it is easy said than done.
Okay.
You know, I was just telling you that in 2011, some of the issues, some of the things that happened, it is easy said than done. And from our experience as a nation, we know that if the EC should start the process now, given the deadlines that it is given, that we'll do it for this number of days, given the number of people who will be reporting at the various polling stations, given the rate at which it was going, when they carried out the pilot, you know, in his submission, he tried to use the pilot this thing as a way of justifying that yes, the EC is capable of doing. I think you should have said the opposite. That no, with this pilot program that was carried out, where an estimated time period of 20 minutes for one person was achieved. I'm saying when I say 20 minutes, it means some were 10, others were 40 minutes. So I'm just putting you know, the average. Or should I say that, yes, one of the averages.
So you are striking the average.
Be the mode.
The average time used.
Yeah, the average
piloting.
time used, yes. Yeah, that's why I'm putting at 20 minutes.
Okay.
How many people can register in a day? The EC has not been able to convince Ghanaians. You see, the mathematics is very clear. Tell me that in a polling station of 500 people, I'm coming with this number of people who will be doing the registration in that polling station. Now, convince me. Convince me that in 5 days, if I'm a polling station, if it's by polling station, they say a cluster of polling stations. And that is even worse. A cluster of polling stations. And that is even worse. But assuming that it was polling station by polling station, convince me that a polling station that has got about 400 people, which is about an average, 400 people, I'll come there with this number of registration people who will be doing it, and assume that each person is being registered at 20 minutes. At the end of a day, this is the number of people who are going to register. And so from this thing, I'm going to extrapolate to know that this number of people is going to be registered in a week. And that they've done all these calculations. The EC is not able to do that. They've left all these things hanging for anybody to say anything that he wants. And then we've given this allowance for should, in case that there's a spillover. The EC have not been able to do that. All that they say is that we are going to bring a cluster. I don't even know yet the cluster of people, how many people are going to be registering that cluster of polling stations. And in the cluster, how many voters do they expect? Because if in a cluster you are going to have 2,000 people to register, how many people will be registering these 2,000 people? And assume that each person is going to take 20 minutes, or by your calculation, you are going to perfect your machine, say that it comes to 15 minutes or 10 minutes. This is the number of people who are going to register. All these arguments they've not been able to make. There's nothing on that to convince anybody that it can be done. And that at the end of the day, nobody needs to even struggle. And that you know, things will be done in an appropriate way. Look at the NIA exercise. It's a typical example. You see, once bitten, twice shy. As we sit down here, there are a lot of good Ghanaians who do not have the NIA cards. When I say the middle class and a good portion of even the executives, they don't have. Because they go there, look at the queue, look at the way the people are struggling, and they shake their heads like this and go back. Of course, I have my own because parliamentarians were given an option to register. Yes, I have my own. Yes, but I know that a lot of executives or people who are well employed, they do not have the NIA card. I'm telling you. So, well, some of them will be saved by the passports if they do have the passports, because that one too is you can use it, you know. But what about those who do not have the passport? And so let us not think that it is that easy. And just watching for, you go there, and you have people to feel for you. You have people to feel for you. Instead of going there and then join the queue and immediately registering, you'll be struggling for some other thing before. And so it even makes it more uncomfortable.
It will slow the process.
To slow the process and make people who are supposed to be vouched for to be like second-class citizens. I'm telling you. You go there and, oh, so me, I cannot register. I should go home. Everybody is busy now. It's not easy to just tell your brother, get up and follow me to the place. And so you and your brother and your wife, you are not all going to work today because you've all got to go to the police station to get one person Wilson registered, you know. And that is what I'm saying, that this voter ID, a lot of people have got it. And President Kufuor said it. And I believe that, I still call them presidents, yes. You know, Kufuor said it. And President Mahama has also, I believe that former President Rawlings or President Rawlings, they've all, I believe they believe that this voter ID, for a good portion of Ghanaians, that is the only ID that we are using. If you go to the bank, that is the only ID that they know. If you want to travel by air, that's the ID that they want. So why don't we include this voter ID in it? Especially as the person who's holding the voter ID is also supposed to appear physically. It's not a situation where when you are holding a voter ID, you can sit in your house and register. You are supposed to appear physically to be seen. That yes, you are coming to register and to go through the process with the party agents sitting down there to identify you, with other people ready to see you. It's not a situation where you can, I don't know how many people that they think that they are holding the ID card that are non-Ghanaian. I don't know what percentage they estimate. But if we follow that one too, then it means that the passport should be disqualified. The NIA possibly can also be disqualified. After all, how many people are not holding Ghana birth certificates, etc., to also come and then get the NIA card. And so let us be realistic, where people will not get to the registration center, and some will be like they are second-class citizens because they don't have the NIA card.
All right.
And as we even speak now, the NIA card, the distribution is, just chaotic. Let us not repeat this thing in such a way that in the long run, we will not be able to follow the voter registration to the end, and the issuance of even the voter ID card will be a problem. I must add that so far, let me see, the EC's arguments, there's nothing that is so convincing. You see, they'll say that we know that there are NIA cards there. If you know some people are still holding NIA cards and their names are there, why don't you bring them out? After all, is it not better if we are 17 million registered, going to register, and you have 50,000 of them who use, they are the rotten eggs, because you claim that they use NIA cards to register. Why don't you remove the rotten eggs out? And let's work with the rest that is good. They'll tell you that, oh, if any argument that they bring out, if you look at the reverse of the argument, you see that there is something wrong with their argument.
Okay.
You know, and voter suppression in Ghana, I'm telling you that one, in the long run, they'll think that they want to. Any voter suppression is not going to help anybody.
Okay.
I'm telling them that any voter suppression is not going to help anybody, because people are committed. The good thing about all this NDC resistance, the good thing about the resistance of Ghanaians, is that it has brought an enlightenment that, look, we are going to resist any attempt to make us non-Ghanaians.
Okay.
And that aspect is going to bring people out in such a way that anybody who is disenfranchised, when they say resist, they say that you are being distant. Resistance doesn't mean armed resistance. Resistance means that the person will come out and tell the whole world that, look, here I am. I don't have my voter ID. I want my voter ID. And they say that they have closed. This is what is going to happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Doc, for your submission. Now, we'll move away from that particular story and go to government dribbles customers of collapsed banks, captured on page 5 of the Inquisitor. I would want to read that story a bit. Then, Doc, I'll start with you on this one. The story says, customers of the defunct financial institutions whose licenses were revoked by the Bank of Ghana are bitter about what they describe as false hope after assurances by President Dankwa Akufo-Addo to pay back their locked-up capital. In December last year, a letter signed by the President's Executive Secretary, Nana Asante Bediatu, to the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, said the President has granted executive approval for an expenditure of up to 15,600 million Ghana cedis toward protecting depositors and investors of failed financial institutions and to improve liquidity of the financial sector. In February, the President again announced in his State of the Nation address that payment will start before the close of the month. Quote, I would like to repeat that all depositors of the savings and loans and microfinance institutions, including DKM, which collapsed in 2015, will receive 100% of their deposits once the validation exercise is concluded. Of quote, he explained. He added, quote, I am informed that the receiver of the savings and loans and the microfinance institutions will begin on Monday, 24th February 2020, making payments to their customers, with these monies totaling 5 billion Ghana cedis being in addition to 13 billion being paid to customers of the failed banks, of quote. But several months on, many of the affected customers, many of the affected customers say their expectations has been dashed because the monies are not being paid in full as anticipated, following the impression created by the President. It has rather turned out that Ken Ofori-Atta, through the CBG Bank, has arranged payment of these monies through a 5-year bond instrument to be paid with no interest. This is thievery, one angry customer whose millions have been locked up lamented. Another alleged, quote, the sad aspect of it is that when you stress or insist on getting it because you are in a dire need and the 5 years is too long, Ofori-Atta has asked the bank to negotiate a 50% discount on your total amount. This is a heartless attitude and plain stealing, of quote. Those speaking out of frustration also allege that there is a secret arrangement and there are reports some selected MFIs have been sorted out quietly and they are suspicious the whole process is being manipulated. Quote, there are people who are sick and need medication but cannot afford to buy because they don't work and also cannot have access to their life savings. Of course, they are aggrieved affected customers who have decided to keep their identities covered for fear of being singled out for victimization, told this newspaper. Till today, only few people have been paid back their deposits. Many have died as a result, and others have stroke. Others have had stroke, mental illness, high blood pressures, etc. It was revealed. Doc, government dribbles customers of collapsed banks. That is the story.
Yeah, and government will continue to try to dribble Ghanaians, and will continue to, be the Maradona of Ghana politics, or the Messi of Ghana politics, because they always try to, make sure that they take the Ghanaians for granted, knowing very well that, oh, we can say this and we'll still be able to convince people. They have their communicators and other people around who are always ready to, make sure that
very well.
Even if it is black, they can paint it to be white. If not so, with the way this government, condemned the NDC when they were in power, simply because they had 1, 2, or 3 finance companies, DKM, etc., who happened to defraud their customers, and they were actually arrested and subjected to the law. But before elections, when we come within a matter of 6 months, we are going to make sure that we refund everybody's money. How then that when you come to power, you try to even create a bigger mess? And when we want to say it, all that they will say is that all this started under what? NDC. That is the argument, that all this started under NDC.
But is that argument valid? Is that true or false?
Absolutely false. Look, absolutely false. Let's not go there. These are legitimate microfinance companies. These are legitimate banks who were operating, paying their tax, paying their workers, paying whatever they are supposed to pay. If you had problems with them, and they are indigenous banks, and if you had problems with them, we believe that up to now, even as we speak now, we believe that there's always an alternative. Yes, there's always an alternative to whatever they did. What they did was to make sure that, yes, now that you are having problems, we are sorry we cannot help you, and so we will kill you. This is what they did. And if that was what was being done in all hospitals, etc., if you are sick, they will kill you. Then probably we will not be in existence. But in actual fact, when you identify the problem, there is a way out. If you want, the government wants a way out. This is done in all developed countries.
Okay.
There was a time that the government of the USA, Ford, etc., they didn't collapse them. They advanced money to them. They assisted them to survive. And now the Ford companies, Ford Electricals, Ford what, they are still manufacturing, not only for the American market, but even for the world market. You saw what somebody like Parkway Sindum was doing. He was just opening up and trying to mop up all the liquidity and etc. that was even in the rural areas. My own mother started saving in GN Bank. And when I asked her what she was going to use it for, that she doesn't want to die. And when she dies, she will not have a bank account for the grandchildren. And so this type of mentality where the rural folk, they were all doing that, oh, we have a bank that is of international standard, also in our place, in our villages. He ruled out practically a lot of branches. Now, if he had problems with raising the money, etc., I believe that if you sat down and wanted him to survive, probably you could have helped him. But here we are. GN was collapsed, Unibank was collapsed, so many other banks, microfinances about, I don't know, 30-something, microfinance or even more than that, to collapse the banks. And whatever the government says, it is picked in and assumed that it is true. Now, do you know what they have done? These bonds they are talking about, they say they're going to pay in 5 years' time. In other words, they agreed to such an arrangement, and these people are going to vote for them. Or people think some people are going to vote for them because they've been convinced that their money is going to be paid. Let me just tell those people that by the time they are going to pay this money, if they claim that it is a bond and it is a law, yes, a bond and a law, but people always implement the law. So let me warn those people that this government has just refused to pay their money. And saying that somebody else, that as we sit down, I don't know the person and you don't know the person, is going to pay the money to them. So please, let us get the facts right. And stop trying to blame NDC. You say you pay them when you come to power. Pay them and let us know that you have paid them. Don't postpone again to 5 years' time when you will not be in power.
All right. Thank you so much. Viewers, you're still watching Good Morning Africa right here on Pan African Television with me, Justice Appiah. I'm sitting in for my brother, Kwame Osudan. So we'll be here with you, God willing, tomorrow. Now, Wilson, let me come to you. For no fault of customers who have had their monies locked up in these banks are now suffering. Some are suffering now from various sicknesses, hypertension, and all of that. Some are even dead due to some of these issues, according to the newspaper. You have promised the good people of Ghana, including DKM customers, that you're going to be paying their monies to them in full. Why then are you giving them 5 years to be paid their monies they are entitled to, their life savings and all of that?
Justice. Thank you. I would have wished to go back to the register. I mean, Doc made some misrepresentations about Kufuor that I would have wished to correct.
What was the misrepresentation?
I mean, he said Kufuor, supported the idea that they should use the old ID card. It was the voter ID card. It was misconstrued. He actually indicated that because of the bloatedness of the register currently and following what has been the rule in the Supreme Court, one in 2013 and that of Abu Ramadan's case in 2014, there was a need for a cleanup. And so therefore, if even they will agree to use the old voter ID, it would have meant repeating an illegality which for him will not be proper for the register. So for him, he is calling for the new voter register. And even Chairman Rawlings even repeated same and warned that, and actually
on the day he was registering for his Ghana card,
yes,
I was there.
It was misrepresented. The video is there. The video is there. No, the video is there. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. So let's move on. Yeah, it is misrepresented.
Okay, all right. So you can go
yes, you see, and you know, the NDC always try to, play the blame game when it comes to some of these things. And I've told you before that the banking sector has been one of the messes. I mean, one of the most mismanaged sector.
Okay.
As far as the NDC, is concerned.
Fantastic.
And so when we are talking about it, they should sit down and listen to us.
Okay.
who actually have offered some remedy to the mess they created.
Okay.
You understand? The mess they created far back in 2012 in respect of some of these, what do you call it, microfinances. We saw what happened with DKM and God is Love and all that. Fast forward to 2015, we saw the collapse of 8 banks.
Okay.
Actually, a warning was given by Dr. Bawumia, the vice president. They ignored the warning. And so we're giving them some stipends to beef up their, what do you call it, what deposits, their liquidity and all of those things. But we want them.
They were supporting the bank.
Supporting the bank. When you are supporting somebody and the person is not being allowed to be supported, do you continue to support the person? Every day, every year, I give you a loan facility for a purpose. You go and come back for the same loan, and you are not making progress.
Okay.
Rationally, in the economic terms, do you think that, I mean, when you are being denied the third time, you are being treated unfairly? You understand? So when we are talking about a sector that was mismanaged and collapsed by them, and we are offering solution today, they shouldn't be part of it. Maybe you and I should be having the discussion because they caused the mess.
Fantastic. So let's have a discussion.
So we are saying that the paper is reporting that people have been dribbled, government dribbled people.
So wait a minute. You come to that.
Yeah.
They admitted that they've created a mess and you are trying to correct it.
Yeah.
Is it true that you have promised these customers of the defunct banks that you are going to pay them in full their monies?
It's a process.
Is it true? Is it true? Is it a fact?
It's a process.
No, wait a minute. I just want you to answer. Is it true that you have promised these customers of the defunct banks that you're going to be paying them in full?
We promised.
You promised.
And there is a commitment to that.
Okay. So
and it is a process. So I don't want you to push me to the wall.
So wait a minute.
That the promise hasn't been fulfilled.
But has the promise been fulfilled?
It's a process. You understand?
Okay.
It's a process.
Wait a minute. Let's do some calculations here. You are almost getting done with your 4-year mandate given to you.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that you promised the people after assuming power, after these banks collapsed. And now we are told by the newspaper that a certain 5 years bond has been issued. And after 5 years before such monies are going to be paid to the customers, where some of them are extremely angry about the decision. In 5 years' time, where will be the new patriotic party that promised to pay these people to have paid the said monies to them?
We would have still been in power and managing the affairs of this country. By all standards.
Okay.
Per whatever that is ongoing. And let me say this, that I want us to believe
there's the possibility that the new patriotic party will leave power maybe after 2020 or after 2024.
And there will be a continuation of the new patriotic party government after 2024. It is also possible. Every possibility lies here.
Can leave power.
Yes, so let us not speculate.
And so
let us deal with the present.
The reason why we can't, the reason why we shouldn't speculate, for me, is that you have promised the good people of the defunct banks. Who are Ghanaians, and the promise must be fulfilled. What is preventing government from fulfilling the said promise you've made to the people? Is as simple as that.
You see, you appreciate with me that there is a commitment to it.
Okay.
Other customers came out to actually, confirm that they haven't paid their monies.
Okay.
But it's not in full. I am aware that the officer in charge of this whole process is making arrangements, particularly with what do you call it, Gold Coast security and all that. All of those microfinances that have been collapsed because of some of those things. There are arrangements. I want us to appreciate the fact that this is a process. The process has just begun with a promise and a commitment that has been made to push through the process. And it's already done. You appreciate also that government, through the cleaning up, saved a lot of people. We are talking about 4.5 million depositors that we are dealing with. Okay. Created by the NDC. You understand? And we are dealing with them. We are talking about an amount of 13 billion Ghana cedis that have been used to safeguard some of these things. About 70% of them. You understand? So it is not like somebody is sleeping over it. It is not like somebody is having some cold fingers on the issue. We care about the plight
but the people
of these customers
are suffering. They are telling you that we are suffering, we are dying. People are sick. That is their life savings. They need monies to buy medicine.
Good justice
to survive.
The fact is
save their lives.
The fact is that once we came, we saw the mess, we cleaned the mess, we commenced the process to making sure that whosoever that had his or her deposit with a particular bank is well paid. There must be a process.
Okay.
There must be documentation.
Okay.
There must be proof of the fact that I deposited my amount of money in so bank. And that is why we have that consolidated bank taking care of that. You understand? All these are, whether the bond will last for 10 years or not, there must be a way to satisfy these, disgruntled customers. There must be a way. But you do not expect that.
You would agree that they must not also see that they would have to wait till the bond matures and of course start bearing some profits before their monies are going to be paid to them.
Maturity, I am not having so much information. This is what you are reading from the paper. The paper says that 5-year bond, which should then mature.
There's no interest.
Which will then mature before the payment start. Is that what the paper is saying? I do not believe that. Unless I get an official, communication to that. You understand? That is not what I know. What I know is that the one that is in charge, the officer that is in charge of making sure that every single customer gets his or her due, the process has begun. The process has begun. You understand? And so, whether a bond is to be matured in 5 years or 10 years, I do not know any kind of specific communication to that as far as government is concerned. So, as far as I know that the processes are ongoing and every customer will be paid. It is not a political gimmick.
If you want to discount, it's at 50% discount. I mean, for some arrangement that is being made.
You see, no. You are already part of the problem.
What type of problem?
You are already part of the problem.
I do not take
you cause the problem.
No, now,
allow me. We have a solution.
No,
we do not sit down.
This is what the paper says.
I wouldn't have collapsed this bank.
This is what the paper says.
I wouldn't have collapsed this bank.
Doc, let me please read briefly.
Sindu have been in operation.
It says, but several months.
If I was supposed to
okay, so it says, but several months on, many of the affected
customers. There was no way Sindu was going to.
No, for the sake of respectfully, for the sake of our viewers, let me read this particular portion so he deals with it for me. But several months on, many of the affected customers say their expectations has been dashed because the monies are not being paid in full as anticipated following the impression created by the president. It has rather turned out that Ken Ofori-Atta, through the CBG bank, has arranged payment of these monies through a 5-year bond instrument to be paid with no interest.
Zero.
The president created the impression that their monies are going to be paid. They were not told that your monies are going to be paid through a certain 5-year bond instrument and all of that. What they know is that our monies should be paid in full to us.
And
why are they now told all these, cock and bull stories?
They want money. They want money.
No, you see, I said it is a process. Maybe that is government's plan. Okay, of making sure that everybody gets whatever that is due. Okay. But it is not to wait until this bond matures. I know. I mean, the president is very committed to this and passionate about it. Because when he came in and saw the mess, just like what happened with the economic sector, I mean, generally, microeconomic, indicators were cramped. Were actually brought to their knees and all of that. We saw the growth of the economy, GDP, at almost a negative in that order. Now we are talking, it is 8.1% growth, even with COVID-19. So we are saying that that is why the president said that he, with his government, knows how to bring the economy back to life. You understand? But as far as COVID-19 is concerned, let us concentrate on saving the lives of the people, including depositors whose deposits are locked up in the mess created by Mr. John Dramani Mahama. So we are saying that. So I am saying that in conclusion, it doesn't really matter where the money is coming from. But the government or President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is committed to the cause of paying every singular customer as far as these issues are concerned. And wherever that the bond will be matured or whatever that it is, will now take care of whatever that it is in the future.
Thank you so much for your submission. Now, our final topic, we have just like 3 minutes to deal with it, and then we go. And I'll start with you, Wilson. Tertiary institutions reopen today as government airlifts distributes PPE to schools nationwide.
Yes.
And this was contained in yesterday's
speech. Yes.
COVID-19
yes,
update by the
you know, the last 10th nation's address was, factored of the fact that in spite of the dangers of COVID-19, just like Dr. Gifty Owari is warning us to be wearing our masks and all that, he actually indicated that there was a need for us to go back to our normal life, in spite of all the dangers and all that. And so, therefore, schools had to reopen today as we speak. Tertiary institutions, universities, training colleges, and then polytechnics had to, go back to school. But that is specific on final year students, not in general, but final year students. And so, therefore, before that announcement came, he indicated that as of then, that there was some preparations towards, disinfecting some of the institutions through Zoom Lion and all that. And I believe that already the process has already commenced, and therefore work has been done. Now, in addition to that, in his yesterday's address, he indicated that there were going to be about 600,000 PPEs, let's say face masks or masks to be distributed across nation to these public institutions, even senior high schools and then the JSS and all that, so that they will have enough of them to make sure that everybody that walks in and into the campus and out of the campus wears such masks, so that we'll all be able, observing the protocols, we'll be able to overcome this challenge of COVID-19. You do agree that we cannot sit aloof. The virus is ravaging, it is moving, and therefore everybody is afraid. But come to think about it, life must go on. And so it is only fair and good that the president has come out to make this, reaffirmation of his earlier stance on the fact that there's a need for us to move on.
But the argument is that all these protocols have been put in place in various sectors of our country. Yet we've seen the virus, skyrocketing, contraction, of course, skyrocketing and all of that. What makes us think that easing some of these restrictions and allowing these protocols to be observed would curb or reduce the contraction or the infection rate? Yes,
it is true that in spite of all these measures, things are so, not coming down and all that. And you also, do agree with me that, and even Doc, that we owe it to ourselves to be disciplined, to be responsible for our lives. I have just come in here, I took a trotro. And inside the trotro, you could count about 3-4 people only wearing the masks. The rest of them were like that. You understand? So it is a responsibility as a citizen to look to some of those things. That wherever that you are going, you need to make sure that support yourself before the government can support you. Not that you sit down and wait for the government to support you in all, everything that we want. You see, the virus is out there. But before we will be able to control the virus, we need to control ourselves and how we should be disciplined enough to accept the fact that we are in a new normal where you cannot walk around without your doors being closed. You need to close your doors. So we are urging everybody. The government, is making it for very much work has been done on the ground, but the virus is still on the rise. What do? It means there is something wrong with our individual, discipline.
It means that we are not being disciplined.
We are not being disciplined enough. Walk out there and you see everybody walk around and without masks and all of that. When there is no virus, who will force you to wear a mask? So I will agree with the president that as he's calling on the security agencies, the checkpoints and other places that they are around, they should be able to, at least advise people that this virus is dangerous. If you do not want to protect yourself, but protect yourself to protect another person, so that the society will be safe for all of us, and Ghana will be safe for everybody to go about his or her duty as far as this issue is concerned.
All right, thank you so much, Wilson, for your submission. Doc, kindly take us on COVID-19 update.
I think with what the president yesterday had nothing new to offer. Practically, recently, all decisions that are being taken are not taken in the direction of science, or there's no scientific support for whatever he's doing. You can see that within a matter of 2 days, we've lost about 6 people. Our figure now stands around 54.
54, yeah.
Yes, just these 2 days or something. It was 48, it came to 51, and before we could know it, Jack, it's about 54 now.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you look at issues such as NIH should come out and register, we should do a new voter ID, etc., which is always going to crowd a lot of people. I mean, whether we like it or not, they will start and you see the photos that will come out, and you understand what I'm talking about. So I'm not also surprised that about whatever is happening. What I hope that the government will do is to study the situation very well and react accordingly. Recently, at the police depot, if you look at Upper East figures, I just came from home. We had about 28 or something cases. Now we have about 128 or something. It's at the police depot. The police depot in Upper East. The recruits were called. Like how students are being called now.
Yeah.
They were already recruited, but I think that for some reason, because of COVID-19, they were in the house. They were invited. And a cursory test. They were asked to test, and out of them, they've gotten more than 100 cases. That is what has caused Upper East cases to shoot up from 28 to 128. That's what I'm saying that. And the best thing for them to do now is to see whether they can either quarantine all of them or send them back to wherever they came from, or to find a way of quarantining the police people. So if you call back the students and you see something of the sort happening, we should be able to react very, very fast. Say that we don't cause a harm to these our children. After all, they are our future, and there's nothing worth. What is the use of certificates when you don't have life? So we should be able to monitor the situation very well. Indeed, the best thing would have been to have the kits, or the testing kits, and test them, so that we can separate those who, if they can all be healthy, we'll have little problem, because we think that they are also going to go into an enclosed area, and if we can prevent a lot of visitors going to them and coming out, if we can prevent, they'll be in an enclosed area. So if none of them is sick, we expect that it's going to help that micro society not to have that level of high infection. So we should find a way of testing them. Yes.
But now that they are calling the final year students back to school, the question is, are they going to be having them tested before they allow them in, or it's just a normal temperature checking and all of that? Because we have people who are asymptomatic.
Yes.
And you may not, if you use the temperature gun, you may not detect it.
So
those persons are likely to get other persons infected on campus.
That is the ideal situation.
And so,
what test before they go. But if they can't do that, they should still find a way of testing them. That's the problem that we have. And the president is always doing as if testing is something like a favor that brings up our numbers. But that is what we are supposed to do. Indeed, if we could decentralize the testing to all the district hospitals, we will not have that much problem. So that everybody who will suspect that he has got COVID is referred for testing, will come out with the accurate figures, But as we talk now, I'm telling you that we don't have any accurate figures. What we have are estimates that we are working with. Depend upon one country or the other. Ghana might be doing better than other countries, but we also have other countries that are doing better than Ghana, because they can test more than what we are doing.
All right.
So we should continue testing. We should find a way of testing some of the students that are coming in. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Doc, for
I would agree with him with in regards to the issue of testing.
Okay.
Yeah, because if we are dealing with the final year students, I think it is proper that each one of them, there should be a mechanism put in place to have them tested before entering campus, so that they will be able to control entrance and control, exit. You understand? Because once they are in their various communities and they are now coming back, the good thing is that some of the final year students have already finished their virtuals, and so there is no need for them going back to campus. But at least the number, whether they are even 100 of them that are going back, we should have that, a mechanism put in place to check everybody that's coming in anew. Once you have disinfected the place, it is only proper that you test everybody that's coming in, so that you know that the ground is clear and safe enough for everybody to live in and all that. So that whosoever that is, now coming in after the test is done, will be properly also checked before going in and coming out.
But yesterday, listening to some students of the University of Ghana, they expressed dissatisfaction on how students are allowed to enter campus, because there's nothing like testing. They only check you with the temperature gun, the thermometer gun or something like that, and that's all. And so the fear is that people who are asymptomatic are likely to get other persons.
Yeah, that is worrying. So I believe that moving forward, they should be fast enough to put in place some of these things so that everybody will be saved. Because it will be cost 90 if you have everybody come in at a go. Like you're talking about, those who cannot easily be detected with such symptoms might be the ones spreading the virus inside there, so that we do not have a recurrence of an issue like what happened in the what do you call the fishing factory, where all of a sudden we have 500 positives in a particular area.
All right, so let's remind our viewers that the total number as it stands now is more than 11,000 people. Sure. We have some significant numbers of people who have recovered, and also 54 deaths. Let's be extremely careful out there and make sure that we adhere to all the protocols to make sure that we save ourselves from these deadly pandemic or deadly coronavirus of a thing. I mean, we are in a very bad times, and we must be extremely careful when we go out there. Doc, your final words. Let's go.
Well, my final words is, to Ghanaians, that should in case there's a new voter register, they should all come out and come and register. And we hope that whatever problem that comes, we all should assist solve the problems that will be associated with the new voter register.
All right, thank you so much, Doc. Well, this is what time will allow. So you don't.
Yes. So a short one on the register. We are urging Ghanaians to support the EC. We know the difficulties that we are faced with as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. If we all adhere to the protocols that are being put in place by the Ghana Health Directorate, we'll be able to overcome the challenge of the spread. So let us support the EC so that we have a new voter register that will give us credible election at all times, all seasons, as we build our democracy.
In that, let's make sure that nobody
is left out. Nobody will be left out.
I mean, anyway, well, as Yana said, he has called on the Electoral Commission not to disenfranchise.
If anybody is left out, he should resist.
In a lawful way.
Well, as Yana said,
he has
called on the Electoral Commission to, as a matter of fact, make sure that they don't disenfranchise anybody, assure the good people of Ghana that nobody is going to be disenfranchised, and also called on the AC to include the voter's ID card as part of breeder documents for registration. If we can do that and make sure that we are not going to have foreigners register and be on our register, that's quite simple. Let's do it so that everybody is comfortable. We go into the 2020 elections peacefully, vote for the candidate we would want to lead this nation for the next 4 years. Elections are about, sharing opinions and ideas and nothing more. Let's make sure that we protect the peace and stability we have in this country. Make a time with us same time tomorrow. My name is Justice Appiah. The show has been Good Morning Africa. Catch me live on Hot News this evening as we bring you some trendy stories in the country. Goodbye.